What is up, everybody? How is it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Monday, everybody. It has been a while. I got a little bit of a recap. I was extremely freaking sick all last week with some sort of like norovirus, or I might have got the flu on top of it. I don't know what the hell happened, but basically, I didn't eat for like 3 or 4 days. For like, and even like I had my first like real like meal probably yesterday, but today had my first workout in almost a week. Felt really good, felt awesome. So I'm back in action, feeling pretty much 100% today, thankfully. So it was a rough patch for a bit there, but we're good now. Had a good time. Spent the weekend in Portland for Jessica's birthday, so that was a really good time. It was just a really good time. Saw some old friends, so it was a fun time. So, but today, guys, we're gonna be talking about why comparison is probably messing with your progress when it comes to your journey, because for a lot of folks out there. This is something that we all struggle with at times, but for some people more than others. And for some people, when this does happen, it can really mess up your journey, or it can really throw you off. It can really get you and put you into a negative headspace that's not going to be too good for your goals. So, yeah, guys, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I want to start with this quote, and it's that comparison is the thief of joy, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. If you're always comparing yourself or what you have compared to what other people have or what they've accomplished, you're never going to be fucking happy, right? You're just not. And so I want to remind you guys of that. And so, yeah, before we jump into this, though, as you're tuning in, let me know how your day is going. Let me know how your day is going. Say hi in the comments, drop a like, whatever you want to do. Just let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're tuning in, so then we can get this thing kicked off, though. But you cannot, let me leave with this, though, right? You cannot compare yourself not only to other people, right? But you also cannot compare yourself, the current you, right, present day you, to the old you, right? You can't compare yourself to the you like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, before you had kids, right? You're still you, right? But you're in a different environment than you were before, a different life right now, different, different, different things that you have to, put your time towards, different things that you have to dedicate that time towards. Maybe you do have kids now, right? Maybe you do have kids now, or maybe you don't. Or maybe you start a new job, or you're in college now, or you're taking on more responsibility in other areas of your life, right? Like you cannot compare present day you to the you, or maybe you have less responsibility now, right? But either way, you cannot compare you right now to the old you. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make, right? Especially if you're a parent. Like trying to compare like this current version of yourself with kids compared to when you didn't have kids, it's a whole different ball game. Like it's a whole different like lifestyle, way of living, way of thinking. And like there's overlap between the old you and the current you, but like gosh, like there are so many different like commitments that are involved with being a parent now. So many different responsibilities, different ways of looking at things. And so trying to see your current journey, whether it's a fitness journey or weight loss journey, or whatever it may be, through the lens of where you're at right now, right, in your own journey, compared to the old you, it's not a one-to-one thing. And so a lot of people, though, are too worried about what others are accomplishing instead of watering your own grass, right? A lot of people are too busy being worried about what other people are doing or what other people are accomplishing instead of just focusing on their own shit at the end of the day. And we all do this sometimes. You let it get into your head, and it eats at you, and it makes you feel like you aren't making progress as fast as you should be, right? What's up, Sarah? How's it going? And yeah, and so, you let it go, you let it get to your head, and it makes you feel like you aren't like making progress as fast as you should be, right? And put as you should be in quote marks, right? Because maybe you've been doing it for a long time, right? Or maybe you're just getting started out. But either way, we're going to talk about the difference between, because it happens to everybody at different stages in your journey. Whenever you get in your head about, comparing yourself to other people. But you can't do that to yourself, right? You can't do that to yourself at the end of the day. You at the end of the day, like you need to, focus on your own shit, right? You need to focus on your own shit, but also there's this like book analogy that I like to use is that you can't compare your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 20. If you're just getting started out too, especially, you cannot compare your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 20. If you see other people like doing like crazy shit, or you like man, like why don't I look like them, or why aren't I doing this or that? It's like, and you just started out, like I hate to break it to you, but you need to be way more fucking patient. Like you haven't earned it yet. You just haven't, and you haven't put the time in yet. And if you're new to fitness, or new to your weight loss, or new to your journey, and you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, thinking, why don't I have it yet? Like, you just haven't put the fucking reps in or put the work in yet. And you just need to honestly, tough shit. You haven't done the work yet at the end of the day to actually get what you want out of it. And if you've been doing it for a long time, though, right? Some people struggle with things like PCOS, or certain metabolic deficiencies that can make things take longer, right? That could be that could be something going on. Or maybe you've got 5 kids or multiple children, or and you're comparing yourself to somebody who doesn't have any kids, but maybe in the same boat as you other than that. But you've got a lot of like time and effort and energy that you have to put towards those kids that the other person doesn't have to, right? Maybe you're somebody who has a crazy intense career right now, or you're finishing up like a graduate school dissertation or something crazy like that, where you're just like you're in a chapter of your life right now where you don't have a whole lot of time to put towards some of these things, but you're doing the best that you can. And so, progress is going to happen a little bit slower for you maybe. So, there's all these things, these things that everybody is like doing and going through in their own life. And you're trying to like compare your journey to somebody else's, but you can't do that because they're going through a ton of other things that you might not be going through, and vice versa. And so you got to remind yourself in those moments that, not only can you not compare your chapter 2, right, to somebody else's chapter 20, but you guys might not even be in the same book, right? You might not even be the same book, right? That's why I always say it's you versus you, because your journey is your own. Your journey is your own. You cannot compare your journey to somebody else's, because you're just going to fuck with yourself. You're going to fuck with your mental health and your mental state, and put yourself in a bad place. And you're going to put yourself in a place where you're going to be way more likely to fall off or quit or stop working towards your goals. That's a mistake that a lot of people make on a regular basis, especially when they're first starting out, right? Especially when they're first starting out. Or if you're just having a bad day, right? It becomes very easy to compare yourself to somebody else. And in those moments, you have to remind yourself to like get out of your own fucking head and get out of your own way, and stop doing that to yourself, because it's only going to have a negative impact on your journey. It's not going to help anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody other than yourself. To put yourself in that position. And I know it's, like I said, easier said than done to get out of it, but in those moments, like, recognize that you're doing that to yourself and do whatever it takes to get yourself out of that headspace, right? Whether that's being mindful or practicing gratitudes or affirmations, or meditating or something like that, to just like going for a fucking walk and like just getting out of that like self-toxic environment can do a lot of good. And you can get yourself out of it. You can snap yourself out of it. It's absolutely doable. But sometimes it's harder, especially depending on what put you in that negative headspace in the first place. So it's just something to think about, right? But at the end of the day, I want you to remind yourself of how far you've come, right? I want you to remind yourself of how far you've come. Or like I said earlier, if you are just starting out, you need to get out of your own way and be consistent and stop being so damn impatient. But if you've been doing this for a while, you need to remind yourself of how far you fucking come, right? How far you've come, because you might have been doing this for months, right? Or years, or like decades, right? And we all have bad days sometimes. And we all have bad days sometimes, and it's important to remind ourselves that that's okay, and that's just part of what makes us human sometimes. But in those moments, like, look back and be like, whenever you're struggling, like, oh my gosh, like, like I'm up a couple pounds, or like I had a bad week, or maybe I'm sick, or my kids got me sick, or oh my gosh, I haven't been able to work out in a week, like me, right? And maybe you lost muscle or something like that because of something that happened, and in that moment, it's easy to like put yourself down and pick yourself apart, but it's in those moments that you need to like take a step back and recognize and look back and be like, holy shit, like I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've been doing a lot. I put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I'm not going to let a little fucking inconvenience or big convenience, right? Depending on, how, what it is, but like, I'm not going to let it throw me off, because I have come too fucking far to fail at this point, right? I have come too far to quit is a better thing, because we all fail sometimes. But it's I've come too far to quit, and you're not going to let yourself quit, because this shit matters to you. You have to remind yourself in those moments that you have come so damn far. Look how much progress you've made, and that this still fucking matters to you. Obviously, you're just in a bad headspace right now. And so, yeah, stop, get out of your own way at the end of the day is a good piece of advice to take away from this, because we get in our own way oftentimes. We're like, most of the time it's not, outward things that are stopping our goals or stopping our journeys. It's the internal things that, it's how we're like receiving those things that are going on in our day to day, that can throw us off. And so this is normal at times too, guys. I do want to normalize this. It is normal to compare yourself to other people. It is normal to get down on yourself sometimes, but it is not okay to sit in that shit. It is not okay to sit in that shit and let it fester and let it eat you alive from the inside out, because that's gonna like, that's gonna be what's gonna like screw up your journey more than anything. Right? So, but just let this remind yourself that if you keep showing up, you will get there and it will be worth it, right? It was worth it a couple of days ago whenever didn't feel like shit or you weren't having something bad going on, right? It was worth it a couple of weeks ago. It was worth it 6 months ago. It's still going to be fucking worth it tomorrow, right? It's going to be worth it. It's still worth it right now. But it's hard to remind yourself of that whenever you're struggling, right? So like just in those moments, be fucking nice to yourself. Give yourself some grace, and just like, remind yourself of your why and what you're doing this for at the end of the day and how far you've come. Because yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. And so, if you see somebody else that's doing something that's, crushing their goals and things like that, like, they're just they're in a different fucking journey than you're on. Like you literally can't compare yourself to it. It's not a one-to-one comparison by any means. And there are people who are comparing themselves to you right now, right? And wishing that they were in your shoes and all this other shit. And it's just like, you just can't fucking do that. You can't do that to yourself. It's not gonna help you at all. It's just gonna mess with your head. So yeah, get out of your own way. Get out of your own headspace. Don't fester in that shit. And just remind yourself of how far you've come and that it's just as worth it right now as it was, before whatever happened that put you in this negative headspace. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you got value from this. Let me know your number one takeaway in the comments. Other than that, though, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to make this one short and sweet. Have a good ass rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.